if Goldwater ever becomes president, one thing his presence in the White House will do, it will make black people in America have to face up to facts, probably for the first time in many, many years. And this in itself is good, in that Goldwater is a man who's not capable of hiding his racist tendencies, and at the same time, he's not capable of even pretending to Negroes that he's their friend. So this will have a tendency to make the Negro, probably for the first time, do something to stand on his own feet and solve his own problem, instead of putting himself in a position to be misled, misused, exploited by the whites who pose as liberals only for the purpose of getting the support of the Negro. So in one sense, Goldwater's coming in will awaken the Negro, and it will probably awaken the entire world, more so than the world has been awakened since Hitler.
Welcome to the Gilchrist Experience. Well, you're all aware of our new president,
Elect.
Trump. President Trump. What an experience this is going to be. I'm sure everyone's aghast. What do you think, Graham?
Well, looking at the people that he has around him, it's going to be more than interesting. He's plucked Rudolph Giuliani, who was a very acrimonious and divisive individual when he was here in New York as the mayor, and he was suddenly designated the mayor of America with 9/11.
Right.
But the city was falling apart under Giuliani. He was very divisive. I remember in the Desmond Robinson shooting, and I was working on that case. Giuliani orchestrated a photo op.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
You know,
What
I
year was
forgive
that?
you. 1994.
Four, okay.
And Desmond never said he forgave Peter Del Debbio for shooting him in the back 5 times.
Right.
Even as he was face down, he shot him through the back.
What do you think is going to happen with Chris Christie?
Well, Chris Christie, in light of the conviction of his 2 cohorts last week, you know, the Justice Department hasn't indicated what they're going to do with him, but he is definitely the bullseye in their radar, subsequent to the statements made by the 2 convicted individuals, Kelly and the other guy. But another thing is that you have to have corroborating evidence coming from someone who was not a defendant in the case. But there was an individual, if I recall, that was given immunity in the case.
Right.
And if that person is also saying that Christie knew what was going on and was part of the conspiracy, Christie is going to have some problems. Donald Trump goes on trial on the 28th of this month. He's on trial for Trump University. The Attorney General is taking him into court for fraud. So,
is that still going to go on?
oh yes, yes, he has to be in court on the 28th. So that, along with Governor Christie's situation, at any time you don't know what's going to come from the Justice Department with regard to Christie. They're not saying anything. If they make the decision, we'll all find out at the same time.
All right, you know what we're going to do? Do you have the phone number up there? I know we haven't done this in a while. Let's put the phone number up there. I'm curious to see what kind of questions the public has. If anybody still watches the program and ready to call in, I know we haven't reached out to you in a while, but I'd be curious to see how many people are watching and can call in. I know I was in total shock. I'm sure many of us were. It was just a total, I think what really happened was, I was so surprised. I know I shouldn't be shocked, but nearly 60 million people voted for Donald Trump. 59 million and a half. And that was just beyond me. I gave him the maximum 40 million. You know, I had no idea that this country was that upset And we have a phone call, but it's my cell phone. And why are you calling my cell phone? You see the number up there in case you're trying to call? But I was just so amazed that that many people voted for Donald Trump.
You know, we need to understand that although the East Coast and the West Coast has the largest population density areas, there's still a lot of people in this country. And ironically enough, the areas that Barack Obama carried and pulled through the Midwest, Minnesota, Michigan, and all in those areas, she failed to pull the votes out of those areas. She didn't get the turnout that she thought she would get from the black population either.
Why?
She has a lot of issues. You know, and this was something going back.
With black people?
There are a lot of people, depending on where they come from, don't care for the Clintons. Many Caribbean people don't like them. People from Haiti and people from the Caribbean don't like them because of what they've been doing in the Caribbean. So,
right. Let's take the phone call, see what they have to say.
okay.
All right.
Hey, Mr. Graham Weatherspoon.
Yes.
And, how are you? Mr.
Yes.
Gilchrist, how are
We
you?
can't hear. Hold on a second,
Can you hear
folks.
me?
We can't hear.
I can. Can you hear me or no? Can you hear me? Hello?
Hold on. They're still trying to get the
Hello?
sound.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
We can faintly hear you saying hello. All right, wait a second.
Hello?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Yes,
we can hear you now.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm just, this is a revolutionary election. And I know there's been a lot of hatred thrown at Trump over the last 17 months and stuff like that, and a lot of praise for Hillary Clinton. I think black people are to blame. A lot of them are to blame for their own downfall in this one. All the kumbaya and, going to church, pleading the blood of Jesus Christ and praying that Trump wouldn't win. You brought it on yourself. And, I voted for Trump. Whether he is successful in doing anything in this country, it's not going to be for me. I'm going to do for myself. And I think that's the attitude that we need to have. We have black young men running in the Bronx shooting guns, killing 45-year-old women. We have brothers riding dirt bikes. We have brothers standing on the corners. We have Beyonce and Jay-Z, either 32 or 62, whatever, how much they got, to prance and tap dance with Hillary Clinton. So that's the state of black mentality right now. So I'm happy to be a Republican, a real black Republican. So my question to you, the next 90 days, what do you predict? What do you predict? What do you predict? And how do you feel about the new change as Sam Cooke? Change, it's going to come. Be well. Thank you.
Did you say you were a black Republican?
Yeah, he's a black
Did you
Republican.
say you were a black Republican?
He's a black Republican, is what he said.
Okay,
Yeah.
and he voted for Donald Trump.
Yeah.
So when you say revolution, you mean
Well,
what kind of
Trump
revolu-
said this was a movement. It was a movement because he was not part of the
Well,
political
why not figure
establishment.
out why is he a black Republican?
Well, there are black Republicans. There were black Republicans before Trump. That's nothing new.
Okay.
The notion. I was talking with some guys down on Fulton Street in Brooklyn the other day.
What was his question?
Well, he wants to know what do we think is going to happen? What do we predict?
Okay.
Personally, I don't predict any big change. I wasn't for Hillary and I wasn't for Trump, so there's really nothing that I was expecting here. I'm looking at who Trump is bringing in to work with him, which will shape and mold the course that he's going to take. The key issue in this election was not the people running, but the Supreme Court, who will be sitting in the Supreme Court ultimately, because those positions are lifelong positions, and the thinking of those judges is critical to everybody in the country. Also, you know, Trump talked about business and bringing business back to America, but our industries have gone. They have to be retrofitted. People have to be educated. People have to be taught. The people that used to make shoes in New York was the shoe capital of the U.S., and I think there are only 2 or 3 factories left in New York State. The people that knew how to make shoes don't live here anymore. The equipment has upgraded over the last 20, 25 years.
Same thing with furniture.
Everything. So we don't even have
Textile.
skilled laborers to do the work. So we now have to retrofit an entire culture of people if there is the chance that he can bring business back. But the key thing on that is that the Republican businessmen, the flag-wearing, lapel-wearing Republicans like Dick Cheney and all the others with Halliburton, they move their enterprises offshore because they don't want to pay taxes.
Right.
Those
So
are
you
your
think Trump's
patriots.
you think Trump's going to change that?
Trump has his businesses offshore. So
Well,
I
he's
don't
promised to
know.
bring all that stuff
I don't
back?
know how he's going to do that because the wealthy elite of the capitalist structure move their businesses out of the U.S. They're not going to come back here to pay taxes. And when they bring their monies back, they repatriate their money, it's at a lower rate of pay than if they kept the businesses here.
Wow.
So it'll be interesting to see how Donald Trump, Mr. Foreign Entrepreneur, and I was reading a deep article on his involvements, not just in Russia, but in other countries around the globe where all of his businesses are. We do know he's not a multi-billionaire. That's a fraud. But the thing is this, that people, Democrats and Republicans, are tired of the political structure and the nonsense that's been going on. So Trump fed into the needs of the people, and that's how he got elected. Black people don't elect the president in this country because there aren't enough black people to elect the president. So when he spoke to the heartland of the country, he was talking to those people whose businesses have failed, school districts have failed, towns have failed. They talked about the Rust Belt, you know, that the iron workers, all of that. Those people have been out of work for years. And the Democrats couldn't help them, and the Republicans didn't help them, because neither of the two parties is apt to deal with the critical issues right now in this country with regard to health, regard to education, with regard to employment. Neither of the two are dealing with it. The globalization has been a downfall for us. Corporations are now looking outside of the parameters of this country to make their money.
Well, I think Donald Trump didn't really expect to win this election. I think he's bitten off more than he can chew. I think he's really in a tither of what to do right now. I think the Republican Party is, I think that they're in awe of what happened. You can see it in Paul Ryan's face. I think Donald Trump might surprise us all and have, I think once he gets in the White House, God's going to touch him on the head and say, do something righteous, my brother.
Yeah, right. Yeah, the Republican Party.
I mean, I want to go positive because just the thought of Giuliani being the Attorney General, I mean, that's a police state, no doubt about it. Same thing he did here in New York. So to answer your question, Black Republican, I have a question for you. Why are you a Black Republican? And did you vote for Donald Trump?
He said he did.
He said he did. Oh, he said he did. Well, let's take the next phone call. Maybe it'll be more revelating.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Yes.
How you doing?
All right, this is son of MJQ, but Mr. G, how you doing?
How have you been, man?
Well, if you remember way back a few months ago when Trump won his first primary, and you guys were talking about it, and you sat there and said, there's no way that they can elect this guy. And
Right.
I told you that there are people out here stupid enough to vote for him. And sure enough, yesterday we found out just how many people there are that are stupid. Now, this is what happened. I'm going to tell you exactly what happened. This is why Hillary's not in. First of all the Bernie Sanders people
There you go.
that didn't, their man did not get nominated, said that they weren't going to vote for Hillary. They were going to vote for Trump.
You think the
All
Bernie
the black
people?
folks
You
that
think the
said
Bernie
Obama
people?
didn't do anything for us voted for Trump. You have all these new people, young and old, that have never voted before, voted for Trump. And then last but not least, they say the African American turnout was very low at the polls. And then we're not even going to mention the people that just didn't go out to vote at all. But I tell you something, today it's like a funeral that somebody died around here. Even on the sports shows, I saw Kareem Abdul-Jabbar say, well, he can't understand how America can embrace a racist man like this and make him president.
That's the code.
But I'm going to tell you something. God doesn't give us any more than we can handle. And this is just another test that he's put in front of us.
Amen.
And at the end of the day, we're going to get through this. We're going to get through this. But people really are going to have to come together now. We can't go back and undo what's already been done. The best we can do is take it one day at a time and move forward.
Amen.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank
All right.
you. Thank you. Next caller, please.
Yeah. Hello?
Yes.
You're on.
Yeah, I'd just like to say that this is a backlash for Obama being elected because first they didn't want a black president.
Right.
They thought it would be Hillary. And then, you had this guy Carson, the brother, he's so confused. And it's like, do you think they were going to elect another black president after having Obama? And then with Hillary, the fact that it remains they didn't want a woman.
Okay.
They did not want a woman. And they did what they can to circumvent that. And even though I voted for Hillary, and anybody can say what they want, but it's always the lesser evil in the election. It's not exactly the same. It's always the lesser evil. Also, Hillary brought too much luggage. She brought the shadow luggage that her husband had, and a lot of people just weren't going for it, and they were bamboozled by Trump. He wasn't playing by the rules. He got away with breaking the rules.
Right.
And he went over the line. He went over the edge. And like Trump said, he loves stupid people. And that's exactly who supported him, the stupid people. And unfortunately, racism is alive and well. And I noticed last night, I work at nights, and from what I was understanding, the stock market in England and Japan, China, and all the other countries, they plummeted, This is going to be, we're going to overcome this. If we overcame Nixon and Reagan, we can overcome this. It's just that we ourselves have to re-strategize our future and what we're going to do and not get caught up that this is going to be an instant fix. This is a long haul. This is going to be a fight for many black generations in this country to overcome. Because as long as racism is alive and you have the racists that are in power and the political racists that can advocate and circumvent and implement their racism on people through policy, it's always going to be like this.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. One of the moderators said today that this was white backlash, as he stated, because of the Obama presidency. And we saw how they conspired against him from day one.
Yeah.
Then they were conspiring to take Hillary down from day one.
Right.
But Hillary made two bad moves, which showed her character and her lack of character. What they did to Bernie Sanders in undermining his campaign to get him out of the primary was number one, because they proved that what Trump had been saying all along was true, that it was rigged. So when the Democratic Party knifed Bernie in the back, that was number one. Number two, when the subsequent.
Do you mean because of that we deserve Donald Trump?
No, what I'm saying is this: they aided and abetted Donald Trump because when it was exposed,
What about
they
what
did.
Donald Trump had said?
But wait, let me
throughout
get to the
all this
last.
shit?
Let me get to the last thing that the Democratic Party did in the last debate. They gave Donna Brazile, who took over the committee chairmanship. She turned around and gave a question to Hillary, and that came out. So
But
Donna
that-
Brazile
that-
winds up losing her job and has to run out
Wait a
of
minute,
town.
that was between the Democrats. What they made up and ran against Donald Trump as a team. Now, to blame
They
the Democrats.
gave her a question for the debate.
Well,
That was the point on
Never
that
mind.
second
What about
issue.
all that Donald Trump has done? And we don't want to talk about what the Democrats did to each other.
Let's talk about what everybody
All
did.
right, well-
because this is what undermined Hillary.
And that's
Her
exactly
people
why we don't
undermined
get
her.
anywhere, because we argue amongst each
We're
other.
not arguing. We're putting the
I'm
facts
talking
on the
about
table.
The fact is that we've got this lunatic in the White House.
Well, that's the problem.
All right.
It's not. I didn't create it. I
No,
didn't create it.
Well, the problem is to solve it and deal with it.
You can't
Like, what
solve
about-
that problem.
You can't go back to Bernie and
You're
Hillary.
going to live with the problem.
You can't go back to Bernie and Hillary. We have to go forward with how Obama is going to placate and maybe even put some sense into this lunatic's mind. I think he's bitten off more than he can chew. I think once he gets in and realizes the obligation he has to do something with this country and do something right, I think in his moral fiber might be some God consciousness in that devil.
If there is a moral fiber.
If there is a God, God's going to reach out and touch Donald Trump and make him a good president, perhaps. That's what I'm wishing for. What's happened in the past is done. Obama's got to step in and be gracious and kind, and that's going to blow him away
That's
right
who
there.
Obama is. He's not going to be anything other than what he is.
Well,
That's what he is.
He's the best thing that we ever had
So
in the
that-
presidency.
that's
I mean,
not a-
he'll
that's
live
not
up
a
to that.
deviation from his
I'm going
norm.
to show a shot from Malcolm X way back in 1964 telling you what we should be doing as black people. All right? Just run that clip and we'll be right back at you. Keep calling in. All right? You run that second piece on Malcolm?
The desegregation decisions and other type of legislation and Supreme Court decisions depends upon changing the white man's mind. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us that our own mind has to be changed. We have to change our mind about ourselves.
In what way?
Well, so he teaches us the importance of moral reformation, a knowledge of self. And for instance, the average so-called Negro, he doesn't think that he can go into business and provide jobs for himself. And because of this, he thinks that he can only get a job from the white man, or he can only get clothes from the white man, or he can only get food from the white man. And we who follow the Honorable Elijah Muhammad are taught that the same thing that the white man has done for himself and his kind, if our people could if we could be cured of our slave mentality that was indoctrinated into us during slavery, we would realize that just as the white man can do these things for himself and his kind, we can get together in unity and harmony and do the same thing for ourselves and our kind.
That was for the black Republican. All right, give us the next caller, please. We should be doing something similar to that anyway. Getting together as a family and starting our own organizations. Next caller, please.
Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, the Black Republican.
Hey.
Republican.
What'd you think of
the
that
last
piece?
two callers
What'd you think of the piece I just put up there?
strongly stated that we're idiots. Can you hear me?
Yeah, a
Yeah,
little
talk-
louder. A
I'm
little
talking as
louder.
loud as I can.
Okay,
All right,
we got you now. We got you now.
Okay.
What'd you think of the
Yeah,
piece I
no,
just put on?
Yeah, the last two callers clearly. Huh?
What'd you think of the piece I just played?
Oh, okay. Well, let me just keep talking. The last two callers, you know, they were very clear about saying how stupid all the Trump supporters are who voted for him. Well, we can't be so stupid because we predicted this election And like I said, those people, you know, whether you think he's a lunatic, he is a lunatic. He is a lunatic. He's a psychopath, and he's neurotic, just like she was, and all the rest. And just like Obama, just like Nixon, just like Kennedy. You guys lived under that. Look at Mr. Grant Weatherspoon. He's my idol. Look how well his hair is, and look at the water, how he takes care of himself. That's the attitude that black people need to have. Self-preservation. He is a comedic role model of where we need to be. And the idea of we running around here kumbaya after all these Hillary Clintons and Trumps, they're not going to do nothing for us. And those two callers that ranting and raving about how bad and how stupid we are, we're not stupid. We're not stupid at all, brothers.
What do you do?
Huh?
What do you do?
I do IT, and I work as a paralegal for a long time.
Okay.
Yeah, graduated high school.
You're a friend of, did Graham pay you to this?
Excuse me? I can't hear you.
You're a friend of Graham's?
No, I respect
okay.
Graham. You know,
right.
I've learned a lot from you brothers over the years. I don't know, I've never met Graham in person, but I feel like Graham is like a father to me, a spiritual father,
Hey, man.
and you as well, Mr. Gilchrist.
Thank
I've
you.
learned you guys are brothers, are absolute role models for brothers who didn't grow up with fathers, who didn't have role models. You know, this is one of our only programs. When Gil Noble left, I was crushed.
Yeah.
So this is where we are now.
Yeah,
and you can still use them. You can call them names, and you're going to call him names. But I'm glad Al Sharpton. I'm glad Al Sharpton has to face reality now. He won't be getting any more shows. He has sold Harlem out. And look at, why are we talking about FBI? Everybody's kumbaya about Trump. Look at FBI. Look at this dirtbag. How come nobody's saying nothing about that? So let's be real.
So what do you think of Donald Trump?
I love you with all my heart.
What do you
Anything
think
you say, I will learn from you.
What do you think of Donald Trump?
I can't hear you.
What do you think of Donald Trump?
Oh, I think he's probably one of the most racist,
Okay.
white supremacist
Okay.
people in the world.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, he's not going to pick Giuliani. There's no way he's going to pick Chris Christie or Giuliani. They're done for. He's going to have more black people in his administration. And the Supreme Court has never been for us anyway. They have never been for us. The Senate, the Congress, they've never been for us. So what are we looking for? This is a spiritual. That vote wasn't physical. That was a spiritual ancestral vote. We are moving into a different dispensation. And this is good. You should be thankful. It's a good thing. We're okay. Black people don't have nothing to worry about. Them thugs on the street, you ain't got nothing to worry about. We are okay.
What do you think Donald
Latinos,
Trump?
certain Latinos, certain whites, certain things, they have things to worry about. We have been through too. We are already vetted. Already vetted. We worry too much. Be well. Love you, man.
All right now.
Well, I don't know about you, Graham, but I worry about things like that. Finding everything wrong with everybody else and not looking inside ourselves. Like I showed that piece, why aren't we more organized in doing something for ourselves? I mean, if anything, this should do something. Now, he says that Trump is going to help black people more than anything else.
Maybe it's waking up to the reality of where you are and what's going on.
Well, didn't we know that already?
Well, then it shouldn't be a shock.
Okay.
It shouldn't be anything to worry
No,
about.
well, this was a shock, really.
I think it was really a shock to Hillary Clinton.
Well, it wasn't a shock to you?
You know, as this thing progressed, looking at the dynamics that were going on in the last couple of weeks, no. When that FBI thing came out, you know, what's the name? Comey came out with that report about the emails and this and that. Then he came back and said they weren't, because we were dealing with early voting, people in the process of the early vote prior to the general election.
No, you didn't believe that Comey thing, didn't you?
Excuse me. I didn't know what to believe, but the fact of the matter was this. he said before, and I agree, she came with a lot of baggage. Trump, you knew what Trump was. And he said he's a racist, he's a psychopath.
Yeah.
You knew everything about him.
Yeah.
There's no surprise there.
So?
All right? There is no surprise. So what Hillary
Why-
failed, she failed to handle her people.
Well, why would you vote for a racist?
I can't answer that question.
But he said
You
he
know,
voted for Donald
See,
Trump.
because I'm not a Democrat and I'm not a Republican, so I'm for neither of them. I've been saying that for the longest time. I'm not a Democrat or a Republican. I'm an
Did you
independent.
vote?
Yes, I voted.
Okay.
All right. So
Did you vote for Johnson?
that was my prerogative. There were 4 candidates on the ticket. All right. But the thing
Well,
is that we need
got
to
another
understand
call if you
of
want
and
to
by
have.
for the people is of by and for the people that set up the government. A government is a corporation. It's not a kumbaya thing. Government is a corporation. And if you're not a shareholder in the corporation, you're not
No,
part
Hillary
of that
did win the popular
dynamic.
vote.
She won the
Hillary-
popular,
she won
and
the
she did
popular
not,
vote.
and she failed to get the electoral
Yeah.
college. That's how
Well,
and people
I
we
think
need
it's
to
a
understand
shame.
how a president is selected in the
I
country.
think Donald Trump is going to took on more than he can chew. All right. Hopefully he can come out of it where we're not too scared. Next caller, please.
I guess that's me then.
Say again?
Yes, is that me?
Yes, you.
Yes, brother Gilchrist, brother Graham. Yes, you all have some wonderful, wonderful programs full of information and knowledge, and it's a pleasure to be here on Wednesdays at 5 o'clock to check you all out. You know, and learn so much. It's so informative.
Thank you.
But I'm one of those, like I remember President Obama said, if you don't vote for Hillary, you're going to upset me. Well, I'm one of those that upsetted him, because there wasn't no way that I was going to vote for Hillary because of what she stands for and what she has done over the years. So I just couldn't. I just can't see myself voting for her. And there is, you know, like I look at when she was Secretary of State, you know, she overthrew the democratically elected president of Honduras, Manuel Zelaya, and he was replaced with Juan Orlando Hernandez, and then Berta Cáceres was assassinated in her home, and then followed that with Nelson Garcia was murdered, and Berta Cáceres was even praised on the floor by Nancy Pelosi. So there is so much wrong that Hillary Clinton has done, and plus the lies that she has put forth, you know. So I just there was no way that I could see myself voting for Hillary Clinton.
Did you vote for Donald Trump?
No, I didn't. No, I voted for Dr. Jill Stein, because when you look at her program, there's so many things that I agree with, you know, and it just fits what I would want to see in a president. You know, she doesn't believe in overthrowing governments. She doesn't believe in Monsanto with their genetically modified organisms. And this is what Hillary Clinton supports: Monsanto, hydraulic fracking. When she was Secretary of State, she even spread it to parts of Europe, whereas Poland now has hydraulic fracking, and maybe a couple of other countries has that too.
Yeah.
And this is a dangerous technique. Look at Oklahoma. He had over 1,000 earthquakes. They just had one just recently a few days ago.
An earthquake.
5 point something on the Richter scale.
Right.
You know?
What do
So
you think
it's a
Donald Trump's
dangerous
gonna do?
situation.
What do you
So,
think Donald Trump's going to do?
So,
What do you think Donald Trump's going to do?
well, you know, I look at Donald Trump. The only thing that I worry about, he has Giuliani and he has
Newt
and he has
Gingrich and Christie.
running all around him, and they definitely want a position. So what's probably going to happen is Giuliani is going to probably be
Attorney General?
Attorney General, he
the
said.
U.S. Attorney General. That scares me, you know. But then Hillary
What does
Clinton,
that do for...
she, you know, you might have a third world war because she'll put a no-fly zone in Syria, you know. So,
And we'll have a
that's
police
how
state
I
here in
stand,
America.
You know? And thank
With
you so
you-
much for letting me voice my opinion. You'll have a great evening with good health.
Thank you,
All
you
right.
too.
You know, with Giuliani as Attorney General, if it ever happens, I'm sure we have a race war and a police state. All right, next caller, please. We have another one on there? Next caller.
While we're waiting, Giuliani had commented that stop and frisk was a great project.
Yeah.
And that he would implement it nationwide.
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 If he's Attorney General.
Attorney General. Now, in Texas and New Mexico, there was a law passed that police officers could pull you over to check for your license and registration because they knew that most of the Mexicans didn't have insurance, to check for your insurance. And so what they would do, the only people that got pulled over were the Mexicans.
Right.
White people never got pulled over.
Right.
That was their motor vehicle stop and frisk that they were doing out in the Southwest. What happens if you didn't have insurance? They took your car.
Took the car.
So now in Texas, if you don't have a car,
yeah, you're dead.
done. It's
You're
like
dead.
a guy. It's like your horse was stolen from you.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
can't run out and jump on the subway in Texas.
Right.
So what they did, they were taking the cars that belonged to the Mexicans, so they couldn't get to work, and they couldn't make money. They couldn't pay their bills.
Right.
They got evicted from their place. This was the racism that was implemented over and against the Mexican people in the Southwest. And you see, you have to look at legislation. The Republican Party does not exist as it existed 6 months ago. Doesn't exist.
Right.
Donald Trump has brought a new paradigm to the table. And it's going to be interesting to see how the Republican Party and this quote-unquote new movement Republican, Donald Trump, interacts with his alleged party. Ryan and all of the others who would not endorse him.
Right.
But we now have a Republican Congress and we have a Republican Senate.
Wow.
Which says a lot. It says a lot about the nation and where the nation is fundamentally in its ideology and where it is morally.
Well, I think the Democrats are going to have to come up with a lot of filibustering to get any sort of negotiated settlements on anything that we see wrong. Because I see the Republicans under Trump, if he goes to any length of what he's spoken on, we're in big trouble, especially black people, I think.
Well,
But if he does something with Omarosa, maybe make Omarosa Secretary of State or in charge of black people, maybe.
Omarosa. Look,
Omarosa,
I don't-
beautiful woman, maybe she can, charm him. Maybe he grabs her.
overall, things are going to continue to be just the way they have been. What our people need to understand is that they need to take control over what they have control over, which is their mind and their pocketbooks, and to work collectively to do what needs to be done. For instance, Christmas is coming. Why are you going Christmas shopping?
And who does that benefit?
The very people that own those stores do not like you.
But where do we have a black organization that's going to...
You don't need a
Direct-
black organization. You just need to think. A person just needs to think for themselves. You don't need an organization to tell you that, you know what? For instance, two young ladies were in the store talking, and they said, well, I got to get some chicken wings, and I only have $3 or $4, and I got to get some chicken wings because I'm hungry. And I said, why don't you go buy a chicken? And she looked at me. Buy a chicken and cook it. You're going to get some stupid chicken wings from people when you could fry your own chicken and eat it for less money, and you could have a few meals out of that one chicken. Instead of go buy some chicken wings from this guy, you don't know how long the grease has been laying in that dirty slop that he's cooking it in. And she says to me, well, I don't know how to cook. Okay, who's your mother? Who raised you? And this is what it comes down to, that our folks have gotten so lazy. They won't prepare a meal for themselves. They won't shop, buy groceries, and sit down and prepare a meal for themselves. So now they've got diabetes, they've got heart disease, they've got high blood pressure because they're too freaking lazy to handle their own business. Next, you'll have another group showing up on the shore that'll zip up your zipper for you if you're too lazy to do that. We have the power to handle our finances. We're going out and spending $500 on a pair of sneakers that cost $15 to make from a company that kills people of color in their factories around the world. But we think we need to go out and buy Nike. We think we need to go out and have this brand hanging on our back when you need to keep your money in your pocket. Clothes are made by men. Men make clothes. Clothes don't make you a man or a woman, nor can they give you status.
As I've said many times, there are about as many ways of being black as there are black people. And I don't propose to direct an entire nation of people on how to live and love.
Oh, wait,
and
Malcolm X was talking about that.
But
that's what Malcolm was talking about.
Yeah,
okay.
But where do we have the organizations to direct people to buy and sell as we need? All right, next caller, please. Maybe you'll come and become Gilchristians and we give you directions. There's a thought.
No, I'm not into the cult. No
As
cults.
Graham's giving you.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'd like to comment on the Republican person.
Oh,
who
okay.
voted for Trump.
Yeah.
Maybe he forgot how Trump ignored voter suppression in the South. He said blacks are going to be okay. He's going to appoint blacks. That's a fallacy. He owes us nothing and expect nothing from him.
Right.
He didn't rely on the black vote to get him power.
Right.
He was just to pacify that. He didn't show us no respect. He didn't even go to the NAACP or the Urban League conferences. He didn't show up in Flint, Michigan. He didn't comment about blacks being shot in the back by officers on video. So, I don't understand. There's a misconception and there's a bamboozle that's going on with these black Republicans. In the Republican convention, you had only 18 black representatives in that convention. 4 years ago, you had 168. What happened? Explain to me, what happened? Mm-hmm. And where's the black Republicans that are in the that are Republicans? Why they're not saying anything? They've been missing in action. They're in Iraq hiding. They're somewhere hiding. We haven't heard anything. They haven't had President Trump with anything. What's this guy, Armstrong Williams? He's a joke.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He's a joke. And I hate to say it, some of them don't realize that they're nothing but puppets. What Trump has done, Trump has brought a form of hybrid mutation of politics to the Republicans.
Yeah.
He's going on a tangent. He's taking the Republican Party in another direction. Even though, and people don't realize, he's not a Republican.
That's right.
He's not a Republican. But he's hijacked the party.
That's right.
And this is why there's going to be, they say things are going, but watch, there's going to be the Civil War. Remember, all those people he's offended, the Bushes, the people in power, how he wants to stand in between AT&T taking over Time Warner. He said he's opposed to that. He's messing with people's money, and there's going to be a war. And he may forget, but the powers that be, as my son would say, the Illuminati is not going to forget.
Do you think he really wanted the job? Do you think
I think Trump perpetrated a fraud. I think his ego got caught up in it.
That's right.
And a person with an ego and money is very dangerous.
That's right.
Like we heard him on that bus talking about how he grabbed women's vagina.
Yeah.
He's been doing that all along.
Always.
That's a brat. That's a rich boy who has no boundaries.
That's right.
And people don't understand it. And the reason why the brother said that, Trump, stupid people are dealing with Trump, because how stupid can you be? He is what we see.
That's right.
He is what we see. Right. He's cursing out women. He don't know how to talk to black people. Oh, there's my black African over there. There's my African. Come on, we're not property.
Thank you. Thank you, brother. What's your name?
Roosevelt.
Oh, that was my father's name. Good man.
Next caller, please. Oh, this is fun. Yeah, next caller.
Mr. G.
Mr. G.
Son of WMJQ again, brother.
Yes, sir.
Listen, let me, first of all, the black Republican, let me apologize to him because I know that brother's voice, and he's got some wisdom. So let me substitute the word stupid for crazy. Okay? And give him a little respect.
You know the brother. You know the brother.
Let me tell you one of the main reason why I didn't vote for Trump. And yes, we know he's a racist. We know he's a womanizer and all that other stuff. But there's one thing that nobody on this show that's called in has said. The Central Park 5.
Oh.
Yeah. We did that last week.
Yeah, I know you guys did that show. You guys did that last week. When these cats were arrested, this cat, Trump, took out a full-page ad in the New York Times talking about bring back the death penalty and bring back our police. Before he had all the facts, he called these cats everything but a child of God.
Yeah.
And now when the guys get found innocent, Trump still to this day has not apologized to these young men.
Yeah, and you'll never hear one. You'll
and
never
you will never hear one.
No.
And that reason alone is why I didn't vote for Trump. Because if you have any respect or pride for your people, something like that, you know, people talk about, well, we didn't vote for Hillary because of the crime bill. If something like the Central Park 5 doesn't make a black person upset, especially after the way this man talked about these young men, then nothing will. That's why I didn't vote for Donald Trump.
You know, I have a problem with all these problems that people relate to, including Graham, about what's wrong with the Democratic Party. Now, everybody knows that Donald Trump's a pure devil, and yet they come up with all rationale for not voting for Hillary. I mean, I don't understand it. And as a result of all this confusion, we have Donald Trump, we have a real devil in the White House. Now, we need to
America
really
got
unite.
what America wants.
Oh,
that's what they want.
Well,
that's what they got.
Americans. I'm an American.
Yeah.
I'm an
All
American.
Americans are not Democrats, nor are they Republicans, nor are they conservative, nor are they liberal.
All right, but I'm just
system
saying.
is how it works.
We're also grown men and grown women.
Right.
And we should be able to be self-sufficient, to take care of our own needs.
Right.
Because these politicians are not going to do anything for us.
That's right.
You play Malcolm X all the time, saying that the people that are put in charge to do their job are not doing it.
Right.
And when did he say this? 50-something years ago. And the same thing is true today. It's like he said it yesterday.
It's even more important today. Because we got Donald Trump.
We have to be self-sufficient. I'm not looking for Donald Trump to do anything for me, okay? Because it's going to be the same business as usual. And I got another thing for you. Most of the staff in the White House, I understand, is black. So if there's going to be anybody black in that house, it's going to be the staff. Can you imagine the people that this man is going to be running around with? Chris Christie, Newt Gingrich, Rudy Giuliani, and you know Sarah Palin's going to be looking for a spot. Come on now. Like Obama says, come on, man.
Thank you for calling, my brother.
Take care, brother.
All right, next caller, please. Next caller, please.
Hello, am I there?
Yes, you are.
Yes, all right. My name is Rob Shakur. I'm calling from Harlem, USA. I told it's kind of late to the show. Do you realize that Hillary Clinton won the popular vote, yet Donald Trump won the Electoral College vote?
Yeah.
That's right.
That's why he's the president?
That's right.
So the Electoral College pretty much renders the argument null and void, the vote null and void.
Right.
It's a rich, wealthy white men with power, and they decide where our president is. So if you vote for Hillary Clinton, you vote for white skin privilege. You vote for Donald Trump, you vote for white skin privilege on crack. But it's really null and void because the Electoral College is one that decides who the president is, not Joe Blow public with zero net worth value.
Right.
It's always been that way. That's why people use the term
we can
democracy.
Vote out the Electoral College, and just and vote for paper ballots. I can go into a liquor store right now and come out with a receipt documenting my transaction. If I vote for the leader of free will, I'll walk out with absolutely nothing. Just the blind faith of whoever's manipulating those machines has enough integrity to cast my vote accurately. You know, and if you know how corrupt this, you know, the voting machines, it's corrupt to the core. You know, so we really have to focus on the underlying causes. The Electoral College and the voting process just exercise of fertility. You know, the Electoral College, wealthy white men with power, they decide who our president is, not us. So we need to focus on the Electoral College. That's the problem with the American system. It's not run by populist votes. It's run by wealthy white men with power.
Because you live in a republic and not a democracy. This is not a democracy.
So, Democrats and Republicans is just we know
Doesn't mean a thing.
We just have zero net worth value, and you know, these guys decide they're selected, and we make a select election at their selection. So it was really exercise of futility. Now Donald Trump was Donald Trump was right from the beginning. It's a rigged system. He's absolutely right. It's a rigged system. It's just exercise of futility. If you don't get rid of that Electoral College, your vote counts for absolutely nothing. You don't pay to vote because it's meaningless, because it's worthless.
Not quite. Not quite. The Electoral College works on a number of votes in each precinct on each state. Now, we might find
President Trump as president, not Hillary Clinton won the populist vote.
But they're not.
Electoral College did the will of the people.
Right. They're not required. They're not required to vote in alignment with the district. They can go in another direction in the college if they want to. And that's where the problem is. There have been recent debates in the last couple of years as to whether or not the Electoral College should be obliterated and done away with. So,
the Electoral College is not even anywhere in the Constitution, just let go.
1880, 1888, 1990, 2016, 4 definite elections where the Electoral College gave the presidency to an individual who did not have the popular vote.
Sounds kind of undemocratic to me.
We're not in a democracy, so don't say democratic.
Well, we don't need to vote there for that democracy. You know, we need to be give all the cognitive dissonances, acknowledge you know, the type of the type of corrupt government that we're in. You know.
Hey, work with what we got.
Ourselves and do that. Economic, like Dr. King said, the economic boycott. You were absolutely right, Graham. You know, the Black Friday should be a black season for the whole 3 months. Just don't spend any money with Walmart, Target, and all these other foolishness. Just keep your money in your pocket. You know, economic boycott. You know, it's just risk-free revolution. Economic boycott. You don't have to break no windows. You have to risk jail time. Risk-free revolution. Economic boycott. Teach our dollars some sense, as Bob Blaze say. Teach our dollars some sense. You know, I love your program. God bless you all. Thank you.
Thanks for calling.
You got any more callers? Any more?
Hey, I had to call in one more time. You know, my heart goes out to Central Park.
Oh, my back.
The Central Park was. I wasn't in New York when that happened.
Who's it?
That happened in 1989. I moved to New York in 1993. So that was, you know, I heard that was devastating to us as a black young man. I was young too. You know, when I grew up, my ass was in the house. When lights went off, we weren't allowed to stay in parks and hang out. We didn't have the advantages that the New York kids had. We were in a house.
This guy called before?
Yeah.
You know.
Who's this?
That was it. But like you said, you can't legislate people's behavior. Mm-hmm. And some brothers called before. I'm not crazy. But I do want to say my heart goes out.
Are you the black Republican?
And it was very conflicting. That was the main confliction with my vote. But I want to tell you something. Trump's odds going to be heavy. And there's spiritual black eyes that are watching over us that they can't see. That the NSA see, the FBI, the CIA, all those dirtbag organizations. We have protection. We have the new eyes watching over us, and that's what you have to understand. You have to understand that it's hard to be heavy because of that case. He's going to be so conflicted. Things are going to happen. The doors are going to be open like you've never seen before. You are already in an apocalypse. So get used to it. We are in an apocalypse. We have to really, like Mr. Weatherspoon said, we got to pull back our belt. Be well. I love you, brothers.
Okay.
You know, apocalypse can be in your mind also. It's all mental. It's a mental awareness. If you have God consciousness in your heart, you know, you can get through Trump and anybody else. You have to have love in your heart, and I think if we extend this consciousness to Donald, even a demon like Donald Trump. I think he played the game well. He played the Republicans like a puppet on a string.
Yeah.
And I think, if anything, maybe this brother is right. Maybe he'll get in there and do something righteous. He has an opportunity to be righteous. I think if he sees the writing on the wall, maybe we'll get a decent president. Any more calls before we close out?
Yeah, another thing I'm thinking is although he's the president he's president-elect, when he becomes the president, he will not be the lord of the manor. The Republican Party still has certain values that they hold. Although they've allowed the Tea Party and others to come in and create havoc, there will be a struggle. And that struggle is beyond the United States. He's going to have to deal with international entities. He's going to have to deal with the World Bank. He's going to have to deal with the IMF. He's going to have to deal with the United Nations. And those are three key entities that dictate global policy. He is not going to make the final decision on a lot of things. Even the economy of this country depends upon the IMF and the World Bank. They are now talking about reevaluating the currencies of the earth. The US dollar is the standard dollar for international trade. The Soviet Union and China did away with that a year and a half ago. And they have encouraged other countries to do trade without the American dollar. So the power that he thinks he has, he doesn't have. It has slipped away. It's been slipping away over a number of years. And that, too, will affect all of us as this reset of the U.S. dollar in comparison to other currencies becomes more balanced. And this is what they're looking to do through the UN.
I see Donald Trump, again, as having bitten off more than he can chew. I think he'll become an embarrassment to us as a nation. And there's so many situations on the planet where we had, I think, the most elegant speaking person on the planet between the First Lady and Barack Obama in history. And I see this man coming in now as being an embarrassment because I don't think he can handle it. I hope hey, the gig is up. You've gotten what you asked for. Now be careful what you ask for because God even works in mysterious ways. So hopefully, you'll be touched once you get in this position and God will put his hand on you and bless you. The God in me loves the God in you. And stay tuned for more of the Gilchrist Experience. And let's see what this fool will do in his position, because he is a fool. And God bless you. Power to the people.
We got to talk about the legacy of Obama.
The legacy of Obama?
Before they try to erase that.
God bless.